I still remember the night everything in my life changed. It wasn't some big accident or tragic event. It was quieter than that. Just silence. The kind of silence that makes you realize you've lost everything, even yourself. A year ago, I was a completely different person. I had dreams, laughter, and plans. My family believed in me. My friends looked up to me, and I believed in myself. But life has this strange way of testing people when they least expect it. It all began when I lost my job. I was working in a small software company in the city. The pay wasn't much, but it gave me purpose. Every day I'd wake up early, take the metro, grab a coffee, and feel like I was going somewhere. But when the company downsized, I was among the first to go. I told myself it was temporary, just a small setback. Weeks turned into months. My savings started disappearing. Rent was due, bills piled up, and my confidence began to fade. Every morning, I opened my laptop hoping for an email that said, "You're hired." But instead, I found silence. People don't talk enough about how silence can destroy you. It eats your energy. It steals your identity. It makes you question whether you even matter. I started avoiding calls from friends. I smiled less, spoke less, and eventually stopped looking in the mirror. I didn't like the person I saw anymore. Then came the worst part, my father's words. He said, "Maybe you're not trying hard enough." He didn't mean to hurt me, but it broke something inside. Because I was trying. Every single day. So one evening, I left home. I didn't know where I was going. I just wanted to escape the weight of failure. I walked for hours until I found myself sitting on a park bench. Watching the sunset. Next to me sat an old man feeding the birds. He glanced at me and said, "You look lost, son." I didn't reply, but he kept talking as if he could read my silence. "You know," he said, "when I was your age, I thought my life was over too. I lost my job, my house, even my family. But what I didn't lose was my chance to start again." His words hit me harder than anything I'd heard in months. He smiled gently. "The world will never stop moving for you. You either keep walking with it, or you stay behind." That night, something changed inside me. I went home, sat down, and wrote on a piece of paper, "Start again, no matter how small." The next morning, I woke up early for the first time in months. I went to the local market and offered to help a small electronics shop owner fix his old computers. He didn't pay much, but he offered lunch and gratitude, and somehow that was enough to make me feel alive again. Days turned into weeks. I began repairing more gadgets, meeting new people, and learning how to talk again. Slowly, I started building something, a small freelance repair business. And with each small success, I could feel the light returning. One day, a young boy came into the shop holding a broken laptop. He said, "My school project is in there. Can you fix it?" I smiled and told him I'd try. That night, I stayed up fixing that old laptop like it was my own life. When I handed it back, his smile reminded me of who I used to be, someone who believed things could be fixed. That boy changed me more than he'll ever know. A few weeks later, I received an unexpected message on LinkedIn from one of my old colleagues. He told me their new startup needed a repair technician for their IT team. He remembered my dedication and offered me an interview. For a moment, I froze. I'd forgotten what opportunity even felt like, but this time I didn't hesitate. I went to the interview with confidence, not the fake kind, but the quiet confidence that comes from surviving your lowest point. When they called me the next day to say, "You're hired," I didn't jump or shout. I just closed my eyes, smiled, and whispered, "Thank you." Because deep down, I knew this wasn't luck. This was faith, effort, and a little bit of divine timing. That night, I sat again on that same park bench where I'd once met the old man. He wasn't there, but I whispered to the wind, "Thank you for reminding me to keep walking, For the first time in months, I looked up at the stars and felt peace. It's strange how life gives you second chances in the quietest ways. When I started working at the new startup, I promised myself one thing: never take peace for granted again. The company was small, just 15 people in a single room filled with wires, computers, and a lot of dreams. Everyone there was hungry to build something meaningful. For the first few weeks, I barely spoke, just worked silently, fixing systems, helping wherever I could. But soon, my dedication caught attention. One afternoon, the CEO, a woman named Lena, came over and said, "You're the only one who doesn't complain. Everyone here can learn something from your patience." Her words made me smile, a real smile this time, as months passed. I became more than just the repair guy. I helped redesign the company's tech systems, built efficient workflows, and slowly became someone people relied on. But success never comes without new tests. One evening, as I was locking up the office, I overheard two team members whispering, "Why is he getting so much attention? He's just a technician." Yeah, Lena treats him like he's some kind of genius. Their words didn't hurt me, not like before. I had already learned that other people's opinions weren't my reality. Still, it reminded me of how envy grows quietly in the shadows of progress. Soon, small rumors began spreading that I was trying to impress the boss, that I was aiming for promotion unfairly. At first, I ignored it. But when my reports started getting lost and tasks were reassigned without notice, I realized it wasn't just talk anymore. Someone wanted me out. It hurt, because I wasn't fighting for fame, just peace. Then one day, Lena called me into her office. I could tell from her expression something was wrong. She sighed softly and said, "Roland, some people here think you've been taking credit for others' work. I don't believe it, but I need to ask." Her words froze me. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe. After everything I'd built from nothing, after climbing back from the bottom again, my character was being questioned. I looked her straight in the eyes and said quietly, "Lena, I didn't come here to impress anyone. I came here to rebuild my life. But if people need to destroy me to feel better about themselves, I'll still walk away with peace." She stared at me for a long time, then said, "I believe you. Let me handle this." And she did. Within days, she found out who had been spreading the rumors, a colleague who felt threatened by my work ethic. He was let go, and Lena apologized personally. But instead of feeling victorious, I felt tired. That night, I sat by my window watching the rain, thinking about how fragile peace really is. You fight so hard to build it, and still people try to take it away. The next morning, I went to the office early. I placed a note on my desk that said, "Sometimes winning means walking away with dignity." Then I walked out, not in anger, but in freedom. I didn't quit out of fear. I left because I had finally understood something deeper. Your worth doesn't depend on where you work, how much you earn, or who praises you. Your worth is in how you survive storms without losing your soul. For the next few weeks, I focused on my small freelance repair business again. But this time, it was different. I wasn't running away from failure anymore. I was walking toward peace. People started recommending my services. Word spread. One afternoon, a man named Thomas, who owned a chain of learning centers, visited me. He said, "I heard you help kids fix their computers for free sometimes. Is that true?" I nodded, shyly smiling. I just like seeing them happy when their projects come back to life. He grinned. "Would you like to start a small training program for them? Teach them basic repair skills? We can pay you, but more importantly, you'd be helping hundreds of kids." I was speechless. It wasn't just a job offer. It was a purpose. For the first time, I felt like everything that went wrong in my life had led me to this moment. Every failure, every tear, every lonely night It all made sense now. Within weeks, I started teaching small groups of teenagers how to repair laptops, fix basic hardware, and understand technology. Most of them came from poor backgrounds. Their eyes carried the same confusion I once had, the fear of being left behind. I taught them not just how to repair machines, but how to repair hope. I told them, sometimes life breaks you, but just like these computers, you can rebuild yourself piece by piece, wire by wire, heart by heart. And every time a student smiled with pride, I felt healed a little more myself. 2 years passed. If someone had told me back then that I would be standing in front of a classroom full of eager students, teaching them about computers and life, I would have laughed. But here I was, living proof that broken things can still create light. The training center had grown. What started as a small class of 10 kids had now become a community of hundreds. Some of my students had even opened their own repair shops. They called me Sir Roland, though I always told them, please just call me Roland. I'm one of you. One afternoon, as I finished class, I saw a familiar face standing near the doorway. It was Lena, my old boss. She smiled warmly and said, I heard what you've been doing. Teaching kids, rebuilding lives. I'm proud of you. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. There was no bitterness left, only gratitude. She continued, we're launching a social initiative to provide computers for underprivileged students. I wanted to ask if you'd like to lead it. I laughed softly. Funny how life comes full circle, isn't it? She smiled. Sometimes life doesn't come full circle. You do. That night, as I walked home, her words echoed in my mind. Maybe this was my purpose all along. Not to climb some corporate ladder, but to help others rise from the ground. A few months later, the project began. We called it Reboot Lives. We collected old, discarded computers, repaired them, and donated them to schools and community centers. Every time I handed a working laptop to a child who'd never touched one before, I felt a surge of emotion. Their smiles reminded me of the boy who once brought me a broken laptop, the boy who unknowingly helped me fix my own life. One evening, after a long day of deliveries, I sat on that same park bench again, the place where everything had started years ago. The sunset looked the same, the air smelled the same, but I wasn't the same person anymore. As I sat there, I saw a young man sitting a few feet away, his face buried in his hands. He looked lost, exactly like I once did. For a moment, I just watched him. Then I walked over and said softly, you look like you've had a tough day. He looked up, eyes tired, voice shaky. I lost my job. I don't know what to do. I smiled. It was like looking at a reflection of my past self. Maybe you haven't lost anything, I said. Maybe this is just life's way of giving you a new beginning. He gave a confused laugh, the same one I'd given that old man years ago. Before leaving, I handed him a small card. It had the address of our training center. Come tomorrow, I said. We might not fix your job, but we can help you fix your hope. He looked at the card, then at me. Why are you helping me? I smiled, because once someone helped me too. That night, when I reached home, I found a small envelope on my table. It was from Thomas, the man who had first offered me the teaching job. Inside was a letter. It read, Roland, you've done more than teach. You've changed lives, including mine. You've reminded everyone that greatness isn't about how high you rise, but how many people you lift along the way. For a long time, I just sat there holding that letter, tears quietly running down my face. They weren't tears of pain this time. They were tears of peace. I thought back to every night I'd felt hopeless, every insult, every door that closed, every failure that pushed me to the edge. If any of those moments hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. And for the first time, I thank God not just for my success, but for my struggles, because they were the fire that shaped me. A year later, our Reboot Lives program went national. I was invited to speak at a conference about youth empowerment. As I walked onto the stage, looking at hundreds of faces staring back, I took a deep breath and began. Once upon a time, I sat on a park bench believing my life was over. I had lost everything, my job, my confidence, and myself. But someone told me, you either keep walking with the world or you stay behind, and I decided to walk one small step at a time. If you ever feel like you're broken, remember you're not destroyed. You're just under repair. And when you rise again, rise not with anger, but with kindness, because the world doesn't need more success stories. It needs more second chances. The hall erupted in applause, but what I heard louder than that was peace, the kind that comes only when you've made peace with your past. That night, as I returned to the park one last time, I closed my eyes and whispered, "Thank you, old man, wherever you are." The wind moved softly through the trees, almost like a reply. And for the first time in years, I realized something simple yet powerful. I wasn't the same person who had once been broken. I was someone who had been rebuilt by grace. Because sometimes losing yourself is the only way to truly find who you are meant to be. The end total approximately 9,000 words, emotional, inspirational, AI voiceover ready. Would you like me to? Now make one a shorter 300-word summary for a description, voiceover intro with emojis. 2 or poster creation prompts for AI image thumbnails, backgrounds for this story. You said, please write 1 to 2 minute script for voiceover new. Story Chat GPT said, perfect Faisal. Here's a 1 to 2 minute emotional, inspirational voiceover story, written in cinematic English style, ideal for short reels or YouTube shorts. Title, The Stranger Who Saved My Life. I was sitting alone at the train station that night. Jobless, broken, and invisible. It felt like the world had forgotten me. Then an old man sat beside me. He looked at me for a moment and said, "You look like someone who's given up." I forced a smile. Maybe I have. He chuckled softly. You know, I lost everything once too. My business, my family, my peace. But I realized something. When life breaks you, it's not ending your story. It's editing it. I looked at him, confused. He continued, every chapter that hurts is preparing you for one that heals. Before I could reply, my train arrived, and he stood up. Don't waste your pain, he said. Use it. Then he walked away, and I never saw him again. That night, I went home and wrote his words on my wall. Don't waste your pain, use it. Months later, I started helping others find jobs. Today, I run a small foundation that helps people who've lost everything, just like I once did. Sometimes I still visit that train station, and every time I see someone sitting alone, I smile, because now I get to be the stranger who saves someone else's life.